think I'll wait until everyone in the committee has spoken before I address them, and Scott Roberts is next.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Jim posed a question. That was the point he was making clear, and I'd say, yeah, it was absolutely, and I'm in agreement with him. I think that there is a matter that we are considering here that is, if you will, it is something that has got a foot in both camps, and I think that there is no analysis in any of the information we've received about the potential impact on the accommodation sector, the commercial sector, which I would assume would be included in any proposal that might come forward that was a flat-out hotel construction project that we would be considering. I recall at some point, and I didn't dig through my minutes and discussion on sort of previous committee meetings, and perhaps that's my fault, but there was some discussion at some point about whether or not there was a variable assessment or variable tax rate that could be applied that in some way would level the playing field. I haven't heard from any of the people in the business community in any sector that they are afraid of facing competition. All I've heard from anyone in any sector of business is that they would like it to be on a level playing field. And I suspect, although I'm not sure, I suspect that would apply in this case as well, that as long as the playing field was level, and Jim is right. I mean, a new commercial accommodation development in downtown Wolfville could turn out to be a very positive thing. Equally handled poorly, it could be a very bad thing. So I think it is appropriate for us to deal with this question, and Jim's point is crystal clear to me. It isn't something that we are, I don't think it has been presented to us fully. And we could, if we're not careful, by policy decision, do something inadvertently that could have a negative impact on a certain sector of our commercial businesses.
I just had a question for clarification. If I remember correctly, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, last time this came forward, there was some concern around, because of the split between land uses relative to property taxation, and that was unclear how that was going to be enforced effectively, and whether that actually could be enforced. And this is sort of stemming from what everyone else has already said. Has that been cleared up, or is there a mechanism to clear that up?
Director Morrison.
The property valuation services folks have indicated that there would be a commercial assessment related to the rooms for tourism use. So it would be analysis done by them on they would be used to doing that sort of thing, although this may not be that common, but we have similar situations with business uses on the Acadia campus, for instance. They have to make some kind of assessment as to how much commercial activity is going on in some of the buildings. So it would be done. There would be some component that would be taxed commercially and hopefully fairly.
Thank you. Steve Madison.
Rose Lawn, as you come into the town on the east side, that has done that for years. I'm not sure if they're still doing it, but certainly for 40 years, they would have those places occupied in the wintertime by students. And then once the students vacated, then it would become an ordinary rental scenario. It's not as common as it once was, but certainly 35 years ago, what is now the Historic Inn, that used to be Victoria's Inn, would rent out a good portion of their building. And a number of the other spots that provided accommodations would rent to students. And then once summer came along, we would then shift the other direction. And of course, as mentioned by Greg already, the university, of course, shifts from a kind of a resident 8-month, 7-month scenario. And when they engage in business in the summertime, you know, for conferences and whatever, they all of a sudden become a competitor with, you know, those that are running whatever in around town. The other feature here too, I think this is a different type of accommodation than what you would get in a bed and breakfast, in the sense that it has a kitchenette inside. So you're kind of targeted to a different market, where the other facilities would simply be equivalent to a hotel room, but not a kind of a short-term rental as you would have in Halifax, as it were, for some of the properties in the Marriotts and whatever. For what that's worth.